What's going on, everybody? So today I'd like to talk about 3 common drawing mistakes and what to do about them. The first mistake is choosing the wrong subject. This is something I've seen a lot of beginner artists do over and over again. As soon as they start learning to draw, they want to jump right into figure drawing and portraits. And I think this is really the wrong approach because human figure and portraits are some of the most challenging, difficult subjects that anyone can learn to draw. So personally, I think it's best to not jump into something so complex at the very beginning. Instead, it's better to choose simple subjects and then slowly challenge yourself over time. This will help to slowly build up your confidence and your skill set so that you'll be prepared to draw more difficult subjects, months down the line or weeks down the line. Think of it in terms of like going to the gym. If it's your first day going to the gym, you've never worked out before, you're not going to start bench pressing like 200 pounds or a lot of weight. You're going to have to start very light, very slow. You're going to feel like a noob. You're going to look kind of like a beginner, but that's okay. Everyone starts off with very light weight. And we have to do the same thing when it comes to drawing, with art, any kind of skill that you can think of out there. If you're learning the piano, you can't just start playing some complex classical piece right off the beginning. You have to learn scales and finger exercises and get used to playing. So I think the same thing should be applied to drawing. We have to learn like simple subjects like cups, bowls, fruit still lifes, all the boring stuff. We kind of have to go through, a month or two of that before we feel more confident. And then we can move on to something more exciting, something that we're actually interested in. So I think it's better to focus on these simple subjects that are going to build up your confidence and help you to draw more difficult subjects over time. The second mistake is lack of reference photo and materials. I think this is really one of the most important points that I've made in any of my videos, because I've recently, and even in the past few years, I've seen this with so many beginners learning to draw, is that they think they want to draw from their imagination without using any kind of reference. And I think this is really the wrong approach. And I think so many people and beginner artists have this misconception that professional artists don't use any reference material. This is a giant misconception. I use references for almost every single drawing that I do, everything that I create. And we can also look at professional artists out there. There's an artist named Aaron Blaise who has been drawing for many, many years. He was a Disney animator on all the original Disney movies like The Lion King, a bunch of other movies, Aladdin. And he drew Nala, the lion. That was kind of his assignment. I remember hearing in one of his videos that he said he drew Nala probably over 90,000 times. So you can imagine he's very good at drawing lions right off the top of his head if he needed to, if he wanted to. But when you go to his channel and you look at his videos, and he does live drawing sometimes of lions and other big cats and stuff, he will still to this day use reference photos for the lighting, for the animal, for everything, for the grass. He'll use a multitude of different photographs to pull and draw from. So imagine somebody who's drawn over 90,000 lions still uses references to draw lions. So I think that's a big indicator that references are very useful and are needed to create great art. Real quickly, before we get into the last mistake, I'd like to say thank you for Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. So if you're unfamiliar with Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for those who love learning and wanting to explore their creativity and also learning new skills. I usually use Skillshare to learn more about like animation, graphic design, and photography. I use these skills every day in my day job as a graphic designer, and I've noticed over the years it's really helped me take my skills to the next level. And one class in particular that's really been helpful for me, and I've gone back to it many times, is Animating with Ease by Jake Bartlett. This guy really knows his stuff, and he made the content like super easy to digest, really broken down into simple bits. It's really helped me with my graphic design, my work projects, my video editing, and also with adding little animations and things to my YouTube videos and make them much better. So the cool thing about Skillshare is that all the videos are ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills. They launch new premium classes each week, and the entire catalog is now available with subtitles with Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. So the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description or my code SchaeferArt will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. All right, so let's get back to the common drawing mistakes and what to do about them. So the last and final mistake is having your lines too dark and too heavy too soon in the drawing process. Many beginner artists send me their drawings all the time, their sketches and their drawings, and one thing I notice about them is that their lines are way too heavy, the line work in the drawing or the sketch. They're too heavy, too dark. The drawing isn't really even finalized and everything is just so dark and so heavy, and it's very difficult to change any lines when the drawing is so dark like that. So what can we do about this? You want to keep your lines light and sketchy. You should only start darkening things in the shading phase much later in the drawing. If you take a look at any of my drawing videos, you can really take note that I sketch very lightly throughout most the entire drawing. Even in the shading sometimes I'll shade very lightly. Even after drawing for like 1 hour into the drawing, I can still change almost anything in the drawing. Nothing is solidified. And that's very important because sometimes we make mistakes with like the proportions, or we have something in the wrong spot and we don't really notice it until sometimes we take a break after drawing for a while, and then we come back to the drawing and we can see that, oh my gosh, something is way off and I didn't realize it. And if your drawing is very dark and your lines are really digging into the paper and you shade it a lot and really filled everything in dark and heavy, you're not going to be able to change it. That's just the way it is. It's really not going to be changeable. And that's a problem because now you're going to have to start over, and all that work you did is kind of wasted. Even though it's not really wasted, you learned from it, right? You made mistakes and you learned from it. It's not wasted, but now you have to start the drawing completely over instead of just fixing a few of the small mistakes. So I think it's important to always keep your lines light and really just solidify things in the last 1/3 of the drawing process. Really try to figure that out and really be confident that everything is as correct as possible. You did it as well as you could, and then start darkening things. So just wanted you to keep that in mind. And anyway, hope you guys enjoyed these common drawing mistakes. Hope it helped you out in some way. Let me know down below, what are some common drawing mistakes that you always run into, that you have problems with? I'd love to hear from you. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.